Welcome to Holding Space. Michael Zen is a visual producer and creative photographer using his imaginative visionary energy to channel Zen and hold space for spiritual and innovative discussion. Each episode creates a supportive, accepting, and open environment that allows exploration and expertise to come together with engaging and entertaining convergence. With guest and community all helping the shape of the way, Michael is grateful to be together to hold space. Now here is your host of Holding Space, Michael Zen.
Yes, here he is. Here I am. Here you are. We're all here together. We all made it to this particular space. That means it's Tuesday. It is October 14th. Holy moly. It's cruising. It's that time of the year where if you blink for too long, you're going to wake up in January. It seems like to me that's what happens this time of year. But it's all good. There's so much stuff going on in the world, within myself, within people I know. I see so many people kind of going through so many things, everybody's navigating this moment in time. And it's definitely interesting. I'm of the mindset that you can decide, right, how it affects you. I don't look on the outside of me and say, oh my God, the world is this way, that's why I'm feeling this way, right? I try to decide how I feel, how I behave, how I interact with the world, what I bring to the world, right? If the world seems so dark, why not bring a little light? That's just my philosophy. Anyway, I don't know how I got started rambling so early. I guess I'm just getting really comfortable in my space. It's good to see Michael Christopher out there. It's good to see Michelle Oliver. It's good to see Christy. It's great to see Jennifer. It's great to see everybody. And Michelle says, I hope you're doing well. I am doing well. I hope you're doing well. That's what's so cool is like all being here in this moment, all doing well together. Whatever we're doing it as a collective right now. And there is Evie. What is up? Good to see. Jennifer Rose reminding me live, hashtag live. This is a community. This is a growing place. The Sacred Spiral Network is just such an amazing network of people who all seem to be conduits of energy and love and good stuff, which is why I love hanging out here so much, why I love doing this show, why I love holding space. So if you are watching the show live, what is up, Tanya? Just do me a favor, type hashtag live in the comments. You only have to do it once. Jennifer Rose gets excited. She does it like over and over and over. But she's basically, what she's doing is she's supporting me, because when you type in a comment, the algorithm gets tickled. It's like, ooh, what was that? and it pays attention to you for a second, and it really helps the community. So shout out to Kelly Brickle and the Sacred Spiral Network. Shout out to you guys who I have affectionately nicknamed the Sacred Spiralers. You guys are the Sacred Spiralers. And every time I join a show, I greet all of the Sacred Spiralers that are there. And tonight, my guest is somebody from the network with a show. Before I get into my guest, I do want to sage the space, right? And I don't use traditional sage. I do use traditional sage in my house and in my life and in my practice. But in this space, I've got my trusty singing bowl sage, who I like to just ring ceremoniously to open up this space and do a little quick breathing. 3 breaths in and out that we share together. It's in through the nose and out through the mouth. I'll do 1. This doesn't count towards the 3, but it's just nice deep breath in. Could be 3 seconds. Just hold it up at the top for a second and make sure you push it out. That's what we're doing. We're getting rid of the stuff we don't need anymore when we're breathing. The breathing is cycling life through us. So let's do that all together as I ring the bowl and clear the space. Nice deep breath in. Push it out. Deep one in. You can feel it going in, and then feel it going out. Feel it leaving. Feel that stuff just leave. You don't need it. One more breath. And let it all out. Ooh, a little extra one there for me. Thank you. One of my favorite things to do is breathe. It keeps me alive. It keeps me here with you. If I didn't do it, I'd probably pass out. You guys would just be looking at this screen. I'd be on the floor. But I'm here and I'm excited. And tonight I have, again, a fellow sacred spiraler with me who has her own show, Spiritually Fashionable. And it's a great show with Jennifer Rose, who's also here. And just, again, another addition to this network of shows where we open up a space, an hour of time where you can just sit and intentionally be here and everybody connect in a conversation. Excuse me. So welcome back to Holding Space, returning champion, Nancy Muratalla. What's happening, Nancy?
Woo! Hi, how are you, Michael?
I'm great. I'm excited that you came back.
I came back. Yay! I absolutely loved Evelyn's Live and Alive. That's fantastic.
I love that. I love that. I'm always thinking about that when I'm saying that. Like, not only am I live on the live stream, but I'm alive.
That's right.
In the moment, and it's always a good reminder. It's like that's the one thing that if you're thinking about what you might be grateful for, you can be sure that you're alive if you're trying to think of something that you're grateful for. So that's the first thing to be grateful for.
Very simple. If we just really don't overthink it, right?
Exactly. So what have you been doing since I've been gone? Since we last spoke, I think I saw you guys had an amazing event recently.
Oh gosh, we've had quite a few. I mean, our Sunday service that we have every other Sunday that Jennifer Rose hosts. There's been so many lovely events that we've all gotten together and that we've done together for, charity events. There's such a great team of mediums that we're all surrounded around and people in general, the community.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just exuding with love, the different events that we get together and do. Like it's not work. It's just an exchange of love and happiness with one another. And, you kind of talked a little bit about when you're opening about, being busy in life. There's so much going on in the world. And, I have a full-time day job. And when I get to come home and I get to put this hat on, I can just kind of go take a deep breath and just feel like, okay, like I'm home, I can just relax. I don't have to constantly, answer questions or, think about the daily work and then rushing to work and getting there on time and all of that. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot that we all go through on a daily occurrence. And, there's no quiet time. You have to make it.
You do. And that's what I was talking about, intention and making those choices, right? I mean, I think I'm going to say what you're talking about. I call it the hamster wheel, right? And I think that, most of us have a hamster wheel, right? Of whatever it might be. Even people who have escaped the matrix, right? And created their own realities that might not be a 9-to-5 job or whatever, there's still kind of a hamster wheel. You still gotta wake up and you and I'm saying you gotta, but I mean, you get to wake up and you get to experience a day, right? And I love the fact that, even as I'm talking about it, I'm trying to make sure that that's how I frame it, right, in my
Yeah.
mind, that I get to experience the day. I get to decide how I'm going to face it, what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's really important. But I do want to talk about this California Dreaming event, right? Because I love that on the live stream of consciousness, my show, the theme song says, is this reality or is the dream reality? And I love that you guys named your event California Dreaming, because again, it's creating your own reality. It really is deciding
Yeah.
to get together with everybody's special gifts and put an event together and raise money for the kiddos, as Jennifer
Yeah.
says. It's such an amazing intention to have, right? And then moment to create. It must have been amazing. I mean, I'm on the East Coast, so I couldn't be there, but it must have been such an amazing room full of energy, right? And a moment. And then now, like a memory that you created, like you guys
Yeah.
created this thing and you did it. And
Absolutely.
now it could be an annual thing, or it might
It
evolve,
is.
you
It
know. Yeah.
actually is. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Jennifer, I think this was our third annual
Oh,
one that we
wow.
did.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
See that?
we continue to keep it going.
Awesome.
We've added, hi Arnie. We've added a couple of new people, as part of the dream team on California Dreamin'.
That's great.
We've had a lot of the same people that have also come back. So
That's
yeah,
great.
we want to keep this going.
It's amazing. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
Jacob's Heart and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a great event. It really
Yeah,
was.
Evie says it was amazing. Evie also says, I'm always tripping over some glittery, worry hamster wheels to try and kidnap my
Oh, I
brain.
love that it's glittery. Yay,
There you go.
Evelyn.
And you know what? That's the intentional decision to make it digestible, right? Like,
Mhm,
I got to get on that hamster wheel, but I'm going to enjoy the hamster wheel. It's going to have glitter. It's going to have sparkles. Uh,
mhm,
that's awesome. I love it.
exactly. You know, I'll tell you, I am like everyone else. I have my challenges, regardless, what kind of work we do, if we do healing type work, mediumship, all of that,
Mhm.
we have the same woes and challenges as everybody else. And,
Yeah.
I get up and I work every day and, some days, I'm not happy. I'm I have an issue or I want to tell somebody off.
Sure.
And,
Sure.
the decision is yours, how you want to handle it.
Mhm.
And, as of recently, I've had a lot of challenges with my job. My husband worked for the same company that I did,
Mhm.
and he didn't have the greatest interactions with his manager. He's now gone, and I'm a manager as well, and I'm still there.
Mhm.
So I could choose to be, bitter Betty and not want to interact with his manager, or I can choose to be not only professional, but I can also choose to be kind-hearted
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
and, not take it to work, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
And
kill him with love almost, right? Like be the bigger soul,
right.
what's up, Brian? Good to see you. Yeah, I mean, again, I love what you just said, right? Because here I am talking about this and that, how you can do this, you can be great, everything's great, la 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 la. And I'm not that. I'm not the woo-woo guy, right? I as a on-screen personality, right? I'm a host of a show here. What's up, Courtney? I never expected to be an on-screen personality. I don't present myself as a psychic medium and a healer and all of these things, although I am a million percent all of that.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I choose. That's not what I choose to do. I choose to connect people and just hold space, right? Just
Yeah.
present a place for people to be and be able to speak about things that just haven't been spoken about easily before, right?
I
Like
know. I
like
hear you.
metaphysical stuff, right? That was like, it
Mhm.
was hard. It's hard to speak about, right? In some circles, right? There, a lot of the stories are, oh, when I was a kid, I had to hide this, right? And that's a lot of the experiences. Now I'm so happy to have been talking to a lot of psychic mediums who are like, oh no, I grew up on a farm with my grandma teaching me tarot, like they grew up with this. And so there's
Yeah,
this, this extra layer of knowledge that's been passed down, and kind of ancient stuff coming back,
right.
Brian. And
Conversations that you may not have ever had you not, put yourself out there like this,
yeah, yeah,
right? I mean,
absolutely,
it's
absolutely.
really quite it's really a gift all in itself because the people that you meet and the connections that you get, they're real, they're authentic. And I don't know about you, Michael, but Jennifer, she'll laugh at this, but like when I hang out with my medium friends, my healer friends, like we can be us.
Hmm. Hmm.
And sometimes when I go into the non-medium world, there's questions like, what does that mean?
Right,
And what is that?
right,
And
right.
which is all good too, but you feel the shift, the difference.
Yeah,
And it's just kind of nice to be in your element, I guess, so to speak, right?
yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And again, I think the thing that I've been trying to navigate as far as like language and describing things, right, is the idea of judgment and the idea of awakening and the idea of ascension, right? Ascension right there is indicating I'm on a higher level than you, right? And and I certainly get that, and I understand we're kind of tied to language and we need to describe these things. But the big thing that I've been discovering, and it was even with a discussion with Suri Sawyer about polarity, right, is the idea of it's all one, right? So if somebody is at a certain point of awareness and aware of not aware of things that you're aware of that you feel make you of a higher awareness, right? It's really not that. It's just it's all part of the same spectrum, I guess, is what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say.
I
you
agree
know
with you.
yeah.
Oftentimes I think that, at least I can even speak for myself, actually, when, I was in my 20s, I had mediums that I would go to, and I, literally kind of put them up on a pedestal. And I thought, oh my God, they're like, oh my gosh, like they're holier than thou. Like I really put them on a pedestal, which
Right.
great. I mean, the healing that you get from that is, tremendous. But I quickly learned, not right away, but in my 40s and 50s, that, you too can tap into that as
Mhm.
well.
Mhm.
And we're really all the same. The difference is you may have more experience than I do,
Mhm.
but not one is better than the other. No one's modality is, better than somebody else's.
Right,
You know,
right.
the point
What's
of it is the healing and the love and
Yeah,
all.
yeah, and I think what's cool is the people who do have more experience, part of that experience is the desire to share it,
Yeah,
right? It's like, "Okay, I'll share this experience. I'm not trying to, like, compete with you," right? Brian says, "No
right.
competition, in enlightenment," and I agree. I feel like, we're all in this together. We're all walking each other home, all of those sayings, all of the stuff, and I
Yeah,
I just love that. I love that brotherhood, sisterhood, oneness, like, and that's something that I've been actually talking about and thinking about. Oh my God, I've got 3, 4 different things coming through my head right now, different things that I heard. Let me try to start with the idea of worshiping an enlightened being. Okay. And I'm just gonna throw a little disclaimer out there. I'm not, again, there is no judgment here, right? I'm just talking about my feelings and my thoughts of what I'm seeing. And the idea of worshiping an enlightened being means that you're like, just like you just said, you're looking at that being, that person as, oh my God, you're way beyond where I am. I could not be you.
yeah,
And in my spirituality, in my vision, we're all one. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not that part of the one that you are, right? You're that part. I'm
Mhm,
this
mhm,
part, right?
mhm.
But the idea of, again, worshiping an enlightened being, kind of, okay, so where was I going with that? So it almost, what's the word I'm looking for? Accountability. So it's like, almost like, you don't have to be accountable, right? Because, oh well, I'm never going to be the enlightened being, right? So it's like, you don't act like an enlightened being. And I think that's part of the, for me, again,
Yeah,
I'm trying not to judge. I'm trying to be very careful what I say. For me, that's what makes my journey fun, is knowing I am an enlightened being, and trying to come into that power, right? Like,
mhm.
if you know all of the power that God, that source, has, and you know that somewhere that's inside of you, I think that's an exciting thing. And for
It
me, it's
is.
like, I want to learn more about that. I want to experience that. And that's what holding space is, and the live stream of consciousness. It's through conversations, through talking to other people, and it's sharing that energy and the experiences. That's
Yeah.
how I grow.
And the best is yet to come, because if you think about it, even in my spiritual journey that I've had, and you get the different downloads and you're like, oh, that's never happened before. Oh, I didn't know that I could channel it like that. Oh, it changes, but I truly do think the best is yet to come. Like, there's still so much excitement. Like, oftentimes as a medium, we feel like, oh my God, just hurry up, give it to me how I need, like, give me the names, just give it to me. But it doesn't work like that. And I truly do think the best is still yet to come. And that's where the excitement of it is. That's where the looking forward
Hmm.
to it all is encompassed.
Hmm.
So don't be in such a hurry. Like, it's going to come as it's going to come, and you're going to connect as you're going to connect, and just enjoy the ride and
Yeah.
enjoy the connection, because I'm tired of, like, oh, I'm not good enough. I can't do that. And why can't I be like this person? And
Hmm.
no, absolutely not.
Hmm.
Just be who you are and look forward to the gifts that keep coming, because they do.
Totally, totally. Michael Christopher says something that I really resonate with: empowering others is where it's at. And
Yeah.
I mean, if you've ever done anything in any sort of way to help someone out, just to see that reaction, right? To see that whole process of, you do something and it means something to someone, and they benefit from it somehow, and it makes them happy, like,
Yeah.
you definitely get back. That's where that whole saying is, you get what you give,
Mhm.
it's like, you definitely receive that back in that. I think for me, I can remember early on, right, when I first started kind of really connecting with psychic mediums and channelers and all sorts of metaphysical folks who are in my circle today. I can remember getting really excited watching a medium connect with someone's loved one and give them a message that, like, you see the whole process, you see the message, you see it light up that person's face, you see that person start crying hysterically, because, man, that's powerful, because as an empath, I can feel that, right? I can feel that moment that that person is connecting with their loved one. Or even, let's just say it's not even that, right? Let's just even say it's the thought. They're just connecting with the thought of that loved one, because to me, that is that loved one.
Yeah.
That
The
thought of
feeling.
the loved one
Right.
is the loved one, the feeling, right?
Right. Right. And that's the intensity of it when you are doing a reading and you are connecting with somebody's loved one. They're feeling that. You're communicating that information, and the feelings, and the knowings and all of that. And that's the really beauty behind it all, is when you can actually see that somebody's receiving that and they
Yeah,
can feel it.
yeah,
And that's when you're like, this is why I do this, right?
totally, totally. And you just kind of made something clear to me, which is that language that becomes our tribe, right? You talk about your vibe attracts your tribe, right? So, like I
Mhm.
said, I don't present myself as a psychic medium, even though I know I absolutely have that gift if I want to tap into it. But that's my tribe, is psychic mediums and the Akashic records readers and people who are tapped into this extra level of energy. And you just made it very clear to me that that's it. It's when you are versed in the language of feeling,
Yeah.
because feeling is the language of the universe.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
that's, I think that's what connects people like the sacred spiralers, right?
Yeah.
Just being connected to that.
I mean, I think we're pretty spectacular. Yeah.
Amazing. No, it's really amazing. And again, it's like I don't even remember how long it's been, but I do remember my story, right, with the Sacred Spiralers, and that was just I was doing my show completely separate.
Mhm.
I believe I had Raven Adams on my show, who's somebody with like a mutual person who, knew, I guess I had no idea that she was connected to the Sacred Spiral Network. And so she's on my show, and then all of a sudden I see all these names popping up in my chat room, and they're all like, "Hey, Debbie, thanks for inviting me." And it turns out Debbie Romero, who was on the Sacred Spiral Network, she was in the show, and she was doing exactly what the people in the Sacred Spiral Network do. They were sharing it out. They were like, "Oh, I know other people who would like this. I'm going to share it
Mhm.
out." So she had invited a bunch of people. They all showed up. And then I just reached out to Debbie, and she said, "Okay, you've got to meet Kelly Brickle. You've got to meet Jennifer Rose," and introduced me to this world that instantly was just like
Cracked wide open.
I felt the love immediately, you know what I mean? And it
Yeah.
was like, I mean, it took a little while. I think it was like evident right away when I spoke to Jennifer and had her on my show, that we spoke that language, right, of the feeling, and Kelly too. And just being a broadcaster like what I do, I'm a production guy. I do video, I do graphics, I do all of this stuff. I
Very well.
Yeah, thank you. I had thought of a similar idea, right? I had produced a show for a friend of mine, Christopher Allen, who is an amazing medium. We found a studio, and this was right before COVID. And we found a studio, and we would have like 40 people come in an audience, and he would do a live 3-camera broadcast of readings. He didn't want it to be questioned like, oh, there's editing or this or that. Like, he really loved the idea of doing it live. And it
That's
kind
cool.
of, yeah, it kind of brought me into the world. It crossed my worlds over because I was doing production, and it crossed my spiritual world over, and it just grew from there, and I had this idea called Channel Zen,
Oh,
which
that's
which
cute.
was going to be like a show with Christopher Allen, a show with Karen Garvey, all of the different people. I was like, "Ooh, I'm going to make a show about that person, and I'm going to make this network where somebody who might be into psychic mediums but not know about a channeler, for instance, like a galactic council or something, like, oh, what is this? Let me see what this is, and see if they resonate with it, because to me all of that stuff belongs in the same place. I feel like
Uh-huh.
it's all coming from the universe, it's all coming from energy. So
That's pretty
I found
cool.
the Sacred Spiral Network. It already existed, so here we are, and I've been a part of helping it grow and building some of the graphics for some of the shows. And
Yeah. I love that
Kelly,
you took that. I love that you took that detour. It was just like, oh, I'm gonna follow this road instead for now.
yeah,
Right?
exactly. It's, well, like I said, we're all in this together, and I think it's all the same thing. And I know you certainly can understand the idea of coming across people who have the same message you do, right? And that is, we are humans, we are love, we don't need fear, we don't need anger, we don't want that stuff. um Again,
I mean, they do
it
exist.
exists, right?
Right.
It's a part of the whole, but
Right.
we get to choose, how we express it, right?
Right.
And how much we,
Yeah.
I
I,
guess,
I
hang around
agree with you because I think, you know, when Jennifer and I jump on our show, Fashionably Spiritual, we like to, and you've heard us, we really dig deep and we go deep sometimes
there.
because we want people to feel like they're not alone. We want to talk about things that other people
Yeah.
are experiencing. we want people to know they're absolutely not alone, because not everything is, rainbows and sunshine. And, we want to be able to get through it and work it out, and find tools to kind of help assist us
Mhm.
with where we're currently standing in life right now, right? Because
Mhm.
that's the most important thing, is to meet somebody where they're at,
Mhm.
right? You can't just, somebody who's in deep grief, like, you can't just tell them, oh, the sun's going to come out tomorrow, everything's going to be great. Like, no, you have to meet them where they're at right now. And the knowing of that, I think, is the key to really be there for somebody. And
Absolutely.
really, not being there, it doesn't mean that you have to try to make it better. Is to just be there and listen, and be an ear for them, and hold space for them, as you
Mhm.
always talk about. I mean, holding space is, God, is such a powerful phrase, right?
Yes, totally. It really is. It really is. And I love it feels good. You know what I mean? I think if people let themselves do it more, they would feel it, you know what I mean? And it feels good. I love also this Evie is asking about Brian's show. Brian Lar, who is in the audience right now, who is definitely my favorite wizard. Um he's an amazing wizard and mystic who has his own tarot deck. He's an incredible artist. I don't know if you've met him or seen
I
him on
have
any of
it.
the shows. He's an incredible light painting artist who I met a couple of years ago, and actually, had him on my show a couple of times. And then I started doing a show with him. He's got a channel on YouTube called the Angel Channel, and he goes through his angel deck. We did the Fool's Journey, which was an entire tarot deck that he has, and now he's doing an angel deck, or I think he finished the angel deck. And he's actually, I got to give a shout out to Brian. He's the guy who inspired me to bring Sage into the picture, because he does a bit of a practice on his show. He does breathing exercises and meditations, and his show is amazing. So Evie was asking about it. And then Brian, I just want to give him the shout out here. It's Monday nights at 9 on YouTube. It's called the Angel Channel. So definitely
Oh,
check out
beautiful.
Brian. He's amazing, and his angel deck is amazing. And speaking of shouting people out, I know you're here with me, Nancy, but Arnie Layton also has some amazing decks that he does. He's another a great, great healer and addition to this earth and the network of souls that we all are. So thank you for being here, Arnie, and doing
That's
what
great.
you do. Um, and an authentic meeting. Very yes, Nancy Kodayar.
Jeffrey, thank you. Thank you
And
for
you're
joining
welcome. And
us.
Tiffany is here from Hawaii, my favorite place on earth. I love
Ooh.
Hawaii so much. Hawaii is actually, to me, the Garden of Eden. It is.
Oh,
It really
lovely.
is. It really is amazing. Anyway,
Nice.
so let's get back to
Great.
you, Nancy, because you are definitely an amazing soul. You have a special connection to energy, and you do readings. Are you feeling like doing any readings, or do you want to get into some more conversation? Because there's more of both of those, I think.
I'll do whatever you'd like me to do.
All right. So before I do want you to do some readings, because I know the Sacred Spiral Network, the audience is just always there for that. But before I do that, let's have a little talk about. I told you I wanted to talk about the current moment now, and maybe putting you on the spot, but what the heck? Let's hear how you feel about this. Um, do you think there is any significance to the three-eye atlas object in our space currently? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm not sure. You elaborate a little bit more. I can kind
Okay.
of guess,
Okay.
but elaborate a little bit.
Okay. And I'm actually glad you responded that way, because to me it's like a huge thing. But that being said, I want people to understand like what's going on in this country. I don't know about the world, but I know what's going on in this country, especially with social media and us being on our devices, and us kind of, that's where we kind of get our content. algorithms are shaping people's realities. Okay, because the things that I see in my feed every day are being put there to kind of shake me or make me react or whatever, and they're not the same things that are being put in front of Nancy, because the Three Eye Atlas object is an interstellar object. It's like a comet. They don't know if it's a comet or some sort of actual alien intelligence or ship. And it has entered our solar system. It's been in our solar system heading towards Earth. It's like almost the closest that it's going to come in its trajectory. And there are a lot of people talking about it in different ways. You know, there's a lot of news sensationalism that's saying, oh my God, the aliens are coming, like an invasion. There's a lot of spiritual people who are saying they're here to help humanity, that it is entities, or it is some sort of connection to energetic life, the Galactic Council or whatever it might be. And I thought that you might have had an opinion about it, but if you don't really know about it, maybe when I talk about it, does it resonate at all? Do you sense anything in a psychic sense about what it might mean?
I just rubbed my nose. It's interesting too, because Arnie said they do not want you looking up and observing and thinking. You know, the first thing I get from it is that it's not supposed to scare us.
Mm-hmm.
It's not supposed to feel like it's here to harm us.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely, without having the whole theories out there, I do think obviously there's a lot of cover up with it. But I do feel like it's not here to harm us. Let it do it. Just let it do its thing, whatever it's actually here for. I'm not really that versed with, aliens and, different universes and all of that,
Mm-hmm.
but I just feel like it's not here to harm us. I actually feel like it's here for a good purpose.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I feel like I want to say the word harmony. I feel a little bit of peace around it. I almost feel like I want to do this with my hands, because it's almost like, our country has gone through so much that I feel like, for lack of better words, special forces are coming in to kind of create some shielding for us, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's what I get from it.
I love that I asked you that. I love that you had no idea what I was talking about, and I love that that was the answer you gave, because that's kind of where I'm at. It's a little triggering to me when I see all of the social media saying it's an invasion and all of this stuff, and we've got to check it out, and all of this fear that is attached to it.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because you just kind of reminded me that I can remember when I was a very young kid, 10, 12 years old, thinking that the world was not in good shape, right? And I'm talking about racism and
Yeah.
things that are big divisors among humanity.
Yeah.
I was like, the countries even at war, even that. And I knew in my head, I'm going to say I knew in my head that a mothership, right? This was my vision, that a mothership would appear, and that would be a sign to Earth, holy crap, we are insignificant. We're humans. We're all humans on this planet, and we need to unite as humans to recognize whatever this is that's bigger than us.
Yeah.
And that's the significance of the event that I saw in my 10-year-old head. To actually, it had to be something like that to unite humanity.
Yeah. That was in the 70s, right?
Yeah, that was in the 70s,
Mhm.
and that's what I'm feeling, right? Is exactly like you said, like almost like it's almost like a sign for people to, whatever they realize, come to a realization that they better pay attention. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like it's a good thing. Like I said, like no one's here to attack anybody
Mhm.
or anything. It's more of an awareness thing. It's a more like, okay, everybody on earth, let's get together.
Yeah,
And
it's very misunderstood.
yeah, yeah.
I think
Uh,
that's a very strong word to use for it because I think like Evelyn said, they could have decimated us a long time
yeah,
ago. I think
absolutely.
it's very misunderstood that, again, not to create controversy, but I mean, there's living beings on other why wouldn't there be living beings on other planets?
Right,
Like
right.
there's living beings on Earth.
Sure.
But I just think it's very misunderstood and it's different. So different
Yeah.
means fear.
Yeah, well, I think that the whole idea of kind of good and evil and that fear thing is maybe not just human, but more maybe a 3D thing. It's just again like it's a part of the spectrum in 3D, but I feel like in other realms and non-physical realms that doesn't exist the same way. We can't describe it in human language or even what it might feel like
Right.
to unite everything as one. Like, oh, there is no good and bad and judgment. It's
Yeah.
that's what I don't know. Again, my language kind of reaches a certain level when I get there in my head. I'm like, okay, I
Mhm.
see the realm right there on the other side, but I can't
Yeah.
describe it because I just don't have the words for it.
I mean, if you think about, I mean, just that piece of life and how people respond to that. I mean, look at all the everyday other stuff, how we respond to it and the
Hmm.
fear that gets put around things. I
Hmm.
mean, how many times have you had a thought in your head that something was going wrong or maybe somebody misspoke about you? And oftentimes we get all these theories in our head and
Hmm.
it's not even any of that. I mean,
Hmm.
it might be a little bit of it, but it's usually
Hmm.
we make something way I mean, that's such a simple
Hmm.
terminology to put it in,
Sure,
but our a lot of life beliefs are really based on false information,
sure.
false made up information,
Yeah,
in our own heads, government, all of that. It's
sure.
just
And now we're getting into kind of the area of that involves ego a little bit, right? Like
Mhm.
like like what does that information mean and how it defines you?
Yeah.
I had an interesting experience with a really good friend of mine the other day who's kind of not on the spiritual tip, right? Who I feel like lives a little bit more out of ego, right? And kind of on, which is common, again, no judgment, but we were just having this conversation and he started getting angry at me about something that it was just really silly to me, right? And I kind of chuckled a little bit. I was like, laughed because I was like, oh my God, I'm realizing like, look at how whatever this little piece of information is that was said is affecting him to now behave in a way aggressively towards me, right? And it made me laugh, which
Yeah.
triggered him even more. He's like, he felt it was like condescending, like
Yeah.
his rage wasn't good enough to threaten me or something. You know what I mean? I was just like, no, no, you misunderstand. Like, I think it's really kind of silly and not to dismiss your feelings that you're getting upset about it, but if you think about it, because when I think about it, and this became the thing back and forth, like, well, I want to tell you how I feel. No, I want to tell you how I feel, right? That's the ego
Yeah.
that
Not
was
listening to each other, right?
there. And I was just like, okay, like,
Yeah.
like I just didn't let it get me miffed. Um,
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like too, you have to be careful what topics you even bring up in everyday life. And, I was telling some of my girlfriends, you might represent one side, I might have a belief on another side. And people are saying, yeah, we disagree. We don't, but at the end of the day, aren't we kind of all on the same page that we would really love for there to be just peace and
mhm,
harmony amongst, nobody
yeah,
wants war, nobody wants all of these bad things that are going on.
mhm,
So if we could just take a step back and realize that we're really actually all on the same team.
absolutely.
It doesn't matter who you represent or,
We are.
any of that nonsense, but it divides a lot.
And then you know what? Now you even gave me another metaphor right there. Not a metaphor, but a way to look at it, right? We're all on the same team, right? And you're saying that, and that's like my thing of we're all in this together, right? We all live on this
Uh-huh.
planet. We're all in this together. But now the team is the thing. That's one thing. The team is a thing, and we're all a part of it. It's great.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I like that. That's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, is there a solution? Is there, I mean, the rabbit hole, right?
Mhm.
There's so many different theories or so many different thoughts about it. But honestly, if each one of us can just share some kind of positivity, and it's almost
Mhm.
like, that game that you used to play, tag, pass it on, pass it on, pass
Mhm.
it
Mhm.
on. And I don't know. It just, in the grand scheme of things, why can't we just all get along?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. Can't we just get along? So Brian is gonna have to remind us. People are always doing the 9 of Swords, and then Evie says, "I need to revisit," and she just checked it out, and she agrees. Tell us, Brian, the 9 of Swords. What, or maybe you can tell us. Are you tarot
I
clusive? Tarot
am
clusive? I don't know what
haven't
the
pulled
word is.
my tarots in a while. What is the Nine of Swords? Let me take a quick peek at it.
It seems we have an infinite ability to torture ourselves in our minds and write the worst case scenario. Yes.
Oh, all the time.
Yes.
It's unfortunate, actually.
Imagination, it's our greatest power and our greatest weakness.
Hmm.
At the same time, it's both. It can be both at the same time, Jennifer Rose. We've been talking about that.
Oh,
Both,
yeah,
both can be true, and it's
at the
still
same
it's
time.
still all good. And she says, "I agree with you both." I love
You
that.
know, protecting your peace is absolutely not selfish.
Yeah.
And I love how you handled your interaction with your friend,
Mhm,
but even though it was misunderstood,
mhm.
at the end of the day, you still protected your peace.
Yes.
And that's powerful.
Yeah,
Like that's
absolutely.
that's important stuff to know.
Absolutely. I've definitely been on this major path of, create your own reality, right? And I love it. And it's not what people think. It may sound like, oh my God, that sounds amazing and magical. And yes, it is amazing and magical, but it's like, I think it's like the book The Secret, right? When that book came out, everyone's like, oh no,
Mhm.
all I have to do is think of the gold necklace that I want. And it's like, that's not the secret. You misunderstood the secret. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
It's been a while
Um,
since I listened to it, but I know I walked away going, "Oh, wow. That's incredible."
there is some really incredible information there, but I think it's just misinterpreted, right? And I think people get the wrong idea of spirituality sometimes, about a positive mindset, like, oh, you just got to think positive. Well, yes, that's true, but there's more to it than just thinking positive, right? There's an
Yeah.
actual authentic essence you need to be behind that positivity in order for it to work. Right? It's otherwise it doesn't
Yeah.
work. It's broken. It's got to be, it's got to be authentic. I think authenticity is
Uh-huh.
the ingredient. Arnie Layton, you have to think it, feel it, be it, see it, become it, right?
I think
um
it's also a matter of, kind of self-discovery too.
mhm,
I feel like it's in layers, it's in pieces where you're, like, trying to figure out who you are and what your belief system is. Your belief system that you were brought up with, or who you authentically, are and what you believe in. And
yeah,
I think that we kind of have to dice that up a little bit, and that doesn't happen overnight. So I do think there's a huge part of self-discovery,
mhm,
that we all have to take the time to explore within
mhm,
ourselves.
yeah.
And I don't know that we all give ourselves the time to do that, with our busy lives. And
Most of
there
us
always
don't.
has to be noise going on, and
Yeah.
if you're not doing something all the time, there's something wrong. And the quiet times, the self-discovery, the spending time with yourself, the actual thinking things through, and allowing some of that healing, allowing to get to know oneself, right?
Mhm,
Know thyself, right?
yeah.
um, and it's not all butterflies with that either. I mean, it could be a very painful process,
Yep.
and I don't want to go into um, you know, the darkness part of stuff, but it is a process.
Well, go into it. I mean, as much as you need to, as far as to explain it. I mean, I agree. I think that shadow work. They call it shadow work for a
Yeah,
reason, right?
right.
They talk about um trauma, generational trauma. They talk about things that may have happened to you when you were a kid that you don't even remember, right?
Yeah.
That you buried under other
Oh, yeah.
psychological tricks, just to kind of deal with it, that affect who you are. They kind of they shape your essence a little bit, right? Because you have those thoughts in your head that you've never allowed yourself to deal with, and that's what healing is, right? That's
Yeah.
why I see such a huge crossover between like spiritual practices and therapy, right? There's a lot of crossover, in spirituality, going back to find some moment in time that you're buried, just like there is in therapy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a very similar process,
And
and
there's some extreme situations where, not that anybody's story is more severe than another, but there's some really deep, deep wounds that people experience. And you're right. You easily can push them down and bury them. And, with this crazy stuff going on with the moons and the all of that change that's been happening, last week was a very heavy week for, I know, for me, for a lot of people. And I felt like I was kind of revisiting the past.
mm,
And I felt a lot of things come up, and it's like, oh, wow, like that happened 12 years ago.
mhm,
And, ooh, why is that coming up right now? Like, oh, where did that come from? But it's because I've been wanting to speak about it, but you push it down and you push
right,
it down.
right,
And, you know, got to work through that stuff, whether it means having a conversation with another person
mhm,
or working it out within yourself. But
mhm, mhm,
it really shapes who we are and how
yeah.
we interact with other people as well.
Yeah,
I
and
think,
it's interesting, I think, I've definitely seen people who don't even know, right? Like, they
yeah,
don't even know that they experienced something that is shaping them, and then it comes out through hypnosis. When I started hanging out with psychic mediums, it was also hypnotism was a part of that, right? Hypnotism is a metaphysical kinda thing,
yeah,
you're going into a realm inside of your brain. Brian says you can't evolve without addressing your shadow and achieving a unified self, right?
right.
It's really just, I think, for me, it's accepting that as a part of yourself, and not kind of labeling yourself as that, right? Like a lot of people who have gone through trauma, they kind of that's how that becomes their identity, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I was
Yes.
I was molested at a young age or something like that,
Mhm.
and that becomes the identity, and that's how they deal with it, but instead of truly dealing with the shadow part of it,
Right. And
and
maybe don't want to lose that identity because that's all they
right.
know. I mean, how many times have you encountered negativity? And it's typically not about you. I mean,
Mhm,
people project from their own wounds,
mhm,
you
mhm,
know. So, what do you do with that?
right,
When that's coming at you, you have to choose compassion. But at the same time, I do think that you have to choose if it needs to be from a distance as well.
right, right.
You
And what do
know?
you think about this? Do you when you come across a situation like that, do you sometimes ask yourself what about the situation is causing that reaction in you, to kind of find that reflective trait in yourself?
That's a good question. When it's coming at me from another person,
Mhm,
um, you know, it varies because it depends, like, is this a complete stranger or is
mhm,
this
mhm,
somebody that I know?
mhm,
Is
mhm,
this
mhm,
like deep rooted that, maybe they haven't wanted to get out?
mhm,
So
mhm.
it kind of varies. And so we have the choice.
Right,
So the words are coming out and they may not be what we want to hear. So again, depending on where it's coming, I will try to take a deep breath. On a good day, I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to listen to it
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and try to talk it out and talk about it.
On a good day, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
on a good day.
yeah.
Otherwise, if it's a bad day, I might be reactive to it and I might say something not very nice
Sure,
either. But I try to learn and
sure.
take a breath.
Well, see that, and that's why I asked that question, because I do feel like, that as part of my spiritual lessons and things I've been told, is that often it may reflect something that's in yourself that you want to address. But then I find there's times where I'm like, this isn't mine. This is
Yeah.
not,
Oh,
this isn't my
absolutely.
energy. I don't,
Yeah.
I don't want to, not that I don't want to, but I can't really even take accountability for it. Right. There's
Hmm.
nothing inside of me. I've dealt with this before.
Yeah.
I've passed this point. Um,
You know
but
what I
again,
like to call them? I like if they're, strangers or somebody I don't know very well, and I don't know, maybe you accidentally bumped into someone, you say excuse me, but they react, really harshly.
mhm,
I call that like poison darts coming at you.
mhm, mhm,
Like it's almost like you got to go like this and
mhm,
don't let
mhm,
them land on you.
mhm, mhm.
Poison darts, poison darts. I heard somebody talk about that she was having a conversation with a family member and they made some really rude remark and she knew that the conversation was done. So she didn't
Right,
even respond to it.
right, 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 right.
And later on that night, the son said to his mother, "Oh my gosh, I cannot believe so and so said that to you. Why did you not say anything?" And she's like, "Oh, honey, you caught my poison dart. Yeah, you caught it.
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So Brian says
Mhm.
something here, I think insightful, that this is what I was kind of saying. He thinks he attracts, he fixed it later. I think I attract those kind of people because it's responding to a frequency I'm putting out in order for me to learn the lesson and how I react. So that's what
Yeah,
I'm saying. I do think that there are those situations where it's not
me
like,
too.
it's not the other person necessarily. It's both of us, right? Or maybe it's even just me that I need to learn that lesson. I think it's a matter of being discerning about situations, right? And even understanding, being aware of your whole moment in time. Where's my essence at? Where's this other person's essence at? I think it's all
I agree with you. And I think that's also another really good reminder to not react so quickly. Like
Mhm,
take a breath.
mhm, mhm.
Like, because again, another thing that we need to kind of make a determination about, like, is there a lesson here? Is there
Right,
something I'm supposed to learn? And the lesson simply could be that maybe it doesn't deserve a response, but maybe it
right.
does.
Well, you know what? And even in the situation, right? So it escalated just a bit, but then I was like, Steve, listen. Ooh, I said his name. I was like, listen, like let's think about how we're acting towards each other right now. I realize how that laugh could have come across condescending. I didn't mean it that way. I apologize.
Love that.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
because I did, I realized
Yeah.
how it could have come across that way. And so there was, even
That's
though
great that
even
you
though I
did
feel
that.
like most of it wasn't mine, there was a part of it that was mine.
Right.
And I
But you chose to kind of explain that
Mhm.
where you could have just like, well, sorry, and it could have
Right,
turned into
right,
something else,
right.
right?
Absolutely. Oh, there was a time where I would have said, listen, I am who I am. You know what I mean? If you don't like it, you don't have to
Too
hang out
bad.
with me. You know what I mean? And then I would have lost it's a good friend of
Yeah.
mine. I've known him for many years, since high school. You know what I mean? And we've been through ups and downs,
Yeah.
and it's good. I think that's the kind of relationship where I do step back, and I'm not like, oh, screw this. I don't need this, I don't need this shit from
Yeah.
you. That's
Yep.
my ego. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, let me think about why I don't I wouldn't react like you're acting. I wouldn't let something get me that upset, but let me find out what I did that got you that upset. You
Yeah.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? Kind of
Yep.
thing.
And
Um,
sometimes too, the way that we respond might trigger something in them,
right.
if we're too happy and we're too joy and we're too love, 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 I mean, that could piss somebody off too if they're having a
Yep.
bad day,
Yep. Yep.
you
It
know?
made us closer. It was a great experience. There you go. And that
Yeah,
and that, my friend, is
that's fantastic.
perspective on the whole thing, backing out from
I
the whole
know.
thing and looking at it and just being like, okay, there you go. And
Yeah. Evelyn said, "Yep, being a victim in victim mode is a choice. Some people like the attention. Sometimes they choose joy. I find
Yeah.
that life happens for me. There's always a lesson to learn from all experiences."
Yeah. And so, and with that being said, I definitely have, through my life been around people who that became obvious, right? I was like, wow, you really like being miserable. and
Yeah.
I don't like being miserable, so maybe we won't hang out so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
There
just
there is that decision sometimes that
yeah,
has to be made.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you
yeah,
can hold space for somebody, but you have to kind of navigate through that.
totally.
You're right. Some people like to just be not okay,
So
right?
what's it when someone says when you meet someone, you're walking past someone first time of the day, you're seeing them, and they say, "Hey, how's it going?" What do you say?
Fantastic. How are you? I
Awesome.
always try to be positive.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Intention is everything.
Yeah,
It re-
absolutely. I
it
mean, when I
really
walk into an elevator to go up to my floor to go to work, I greet everybody. I say good morning to everyone, even
awesome.
though I'm not a morning person and I'm not happy to
Awesome,
be up
awesome,
that
awesome.
early.
And that makes it even more special, right? Is
It's for me. It's for
you're
me to start
you're
feeling
putting out
joy.
that intention, you're conjuring that energy
Mhm,
up because
mhm.
that's what you want to be. You're being what you want to see. I love it. Perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I even well, I don't recommend this, but I even open-eyed meditate on my way into work, meaning more not a full meditation, but more of an intention planning. Like this is how I want my day to go. This is how I feel. And I don't say this is how I want my day to go. This is how my day is going to go. This
Mhm.
is how I'm gonna feel. Does it always
There
work?
you go.
No, but
Nope.
I do give it the full effort.
You know what? Take that power and claim it. I love it. Again, that's the philosophy, right? Does this philosophy always work? No, but sometimes it does,
I
and
keep
that's all
trying
that
though,
matters. That's
right?
all that matters when it when it
Most of
does.
the time it does work, okay? But
That's
yeah,
awesome. I
I
love
mean,
that.
one last thought on that is that, whether it's a work environment or, personal, and, you talk about people that are just not happy, or maybe they feel like they have to throw their power around, like, you don't have to you don't have to let that hit you. You don't have to let that absorb into you.
Yeah.
And let them be who they are.
Mhm.
It's not a reflection on you.
So wise. So
Yeah.
wise.
Just
And I love kind of being triggered by that and then being like, "Oh, wait a second. Why am I being triggered? This is
yeah.
silly," right? Like catching
Mhm.
myself in it and just being like, you know what? If anything, I'm sending that person compassion, right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
Maybe from a distance, but yes.
yes, yeah, awesome, awesome. Thank you for both for shining your
Absolutely.
light. Awesome. Thank you guys for being here, Brian. Also, thanks for being here. This is again, this is what I love to do is just connect, have a great conversation, and know that the conversation I'm having with you, Nancy, is resonating with people out there who, are just like it validates things for them
Yeah.
like, oh wow, this is real, this is the truth. So thank you all
Uh,
so much for just being here intentionally for an hour and hanging out with us. Natasha, we did not get to readings tonight, I'm sorry.
I know our
But
hour went by so
but
fast.
tune into the Sacred Spiral Network because I will guarantee you will find a reading. The right person will read you because there's so many different people doing readings.
Mhm.
Um, and really, when it comes to spirituality, like just find the things that feel right to you and just like Nancy
Yeah.
saying, don't worry about the stuff that doesn't feel right. Find the stuff that feels right and feel it.
Yeah,
Let it
exactly.
in, feel it, breathe
Amen.
it in.
Amen,
Awesome.
brother. Yep.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I love the show. Thanks. I guess people are telling us it's time for bed. Beautiful,
I know
beautiful
it's late
show.
where you
They're
are.
they're wrapping it up for us, but that's all good. It is an
Uh,
hour. We did
we
hold
love you too, Jennifer.
some beautiful space. Arnie
Yes.
says that's great advice. It really is. And if you guys, if anybody has a great story, wants to have a conversation with me, reach out to me. Do I have a banner with my email here? I think I might. It's Mr. Z1. Hold on, I did put it in here, but there's so many banners in here. Oh my goodness. My email is Mr. Z1 ZEE1 at AOL.com. If you want to have a conversation, I want to hold space. I want to hold space for everyone on this planet, one person at a time, and just make it a better place. Just for having shown up and been there. So thank you for showing up, Nancy. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
you.
Always a pleasure to be on with you. Thank you.
And let me turn off this comment so I can run the credits out. And again, it's been so crazy for me that I haven't been scheduling my guests. Kelly's been scheduling my guests. So all I know is this: I show up on Tuesdays here in Holden.
Someone's going to be there.
I show up on Thursdays. I don't know who's going to be there, but I know that I show up because I know it's going to be great.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's kind of fun, though, Michael. Yeah. Like Tyler Henry, he never know who's he's going to read for.
There you go.
Look at you being a celebrity on Holding Space.
Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you, everyone.
Peace.